We are very excited right now to get our guy, Brian Baldinger, on the program. Of course, Baldy is the host of the Odyssey original podcast, The Best Football Show, which features daily breakdowns of all the most exciting moments across the league. Baldy is our Odyssey NFL insider, and I mean this sincerely, Baldy. You are one of my favorite Twitter followers. Everybody should follow him at Baldy NFL. Like short snippets of really good film study that makes people smarter football fans. What's up, dude? How are you?
Well, I appreciate the comment and the compliment. I enjoy doing them. And so I'm busy this time of the year. I mean, these rookies and some of these new faces and new places and some of what we saw this past weekend, I've enjoyed putting it out there for fans like yourself to watch. So I love doing it. I just love it. And so I'm happy that people watch.
What may have been the most impressive, and this is a deep cut, so forgive me, but you called the Michael Penix pick by the Falcons when you were like swimming in a pool and posted a video of it. And I was like, damn, Baldy, that like you said that like a month before the draft, man. It was impressive.
Yeah, no, I had that. I called it premonition by the pool, and I was swimming that day. I'm down here in my place in South Florida. I was swimming that day, and I'm just thinking about the draft. It was coming up. And I got to know Michael Penix at the Super Bowl and his agent, and I had him on my podcast, and I really liked the kid. And then his play was outrageous, at Washington. And so I'm swimming one day, and I'm like, okay, I'm going through the draft. Everybody has Atlanta taking a defensive end, and it was a position of need, no doubt about it. But I'm like, I know I worked for the Falcons. I did Falcon preseason games. I know Arthur Blank on a pretty good level, and I'm thinking the only time the Falcons have ever been relevant is when they had Mike Vick and when they had Matt Ryan in his prime. And when they didn't have either one of those guys, nobody paid attention to the Falcons. And I know they paid Kirk Cousins a lot of money to be relevant, but it's not a long-term answer. And I thought when Raheem Morris and Arthur and the whole group went down and they got to meet Michael Penix, I'm like, I knew they fell in love with the kid. You can't help it. And so I don't know. It led to that premonition, and I was like, "What if?" I think this is what the Falcons are going to do. I just went by my gut on the whole thing.
Called your shot, dude.
Did it shock you that so many people lost their mind? Because watching him play in college, and then watching him play just this weekend, they made a damn good pick.
Well, I mean, look, it's a small sample size. We're not going to get crazy about it, but he knows where to go with the ball. He's got an electric arm. Yeah, I mean, if you were out there, talking to, A.J. Terrell or Jesse Bates, guys that have been around this league, and you went and you talked to him and said, what do you see from Michael? They're going to tell you, like, the arm is real. The deep ball and his touch on the deep ball, like we saw the other day, is real. His ability to just go through progressions is fast. What you haven't seen yet, honestly, that guy is an elite athlete. That guy can flat out motor. Like, he runs in the 4.4s. I don't know if he's faster than Lamar or some of these guys out there, but he's not very far behind if he has to chase and he has to extend plays and all that kind of stuff. Like, he doesn't want to do that. Like, he's willing to stay there in the pocket and take a hit like he did the other day. But like, the talent is there, and the individual, the character, the ability to study and learn the game, all that stuff is real.
We're talking with Brian Baldinger, the Odyssey NFL insider. You can follow him at Baldy NFL, a really, really great analyst. Let's switch to another rookie quarterback, dude, and it's the guy that's got so much buzz here in Washington, and Jayden Daniels. Didn't play a lot against the Jets, but was pretty impressive in the one drive he was out there. What have you heard from talking to folks around the league? What do you think of Jayden?
Well, I spent last Thursday up at the Florham Park with the Jets-Washington scrimmage. So I talked to him a lot.
Beautiful weather that day.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was surprised, honestly. Like, I was calling the Jets on the way up the turnpike going, you guys going to practice today, like, for real? Like, the rain was coming down in sheets, one of those kind of days. And they're like, oh, we're like, it's on. So, talking to Dan Quinn, talking to Robert Saleh, like, they're like, anybody that watched the Jets last year, they played a lot of home games in the rain. So they wanted to go, and Washington wanted to go. Joshua Harris was there. Like, the whole group of Washington was there. But it was good talking to Jayden. Like, you're going to see him a lot in the pistol formation this year. He has a real command of what he's doing. The audible check the other day to Diami Brown was a great throw, great choice. It shows you a little bit about some of the command. It's preseason, it's one play, but it led them to getting a score and a read option for a touchdown. Like, it was good. It was a good debut for him. Like, you want the offense to jump, you want it to produce, and it did. So, the kid is just a bright bulb. When you talk to him, like I was asking him about Malik Neighbors, like he's a star of the Giants camp. He goes, I want to go see him while I'm up here. We're going to visit. I think the guy is built for success. I just do. And I think they've upgraded some positions, Allegretti and Biadasz on the offensive line. I think they've upgraded some positions. Like, I think it's going to be fun watching them and following his success right now.
Baldy, they seem to want Brandon Coleman to be the left tackle, a young guy, second round pick. How tough is it with a young guy coming in? And he missed a little bit of practice because of an injury, but is it a super, super tough thing for somebody to come in and do that?
I think it can be, for sure. I mean, he played both left and right, I think, at TCU. It's a lot to ask. You're going to see a lot of really great players out there. You got to protect your rookie quarterback. I know Cornelius is out there. I've known that kid a long time, since he came out of Kansas State. Like, I think he's in his either 10th or 11th year right now. The guy's been a survivor in his business, and he's not bad. Like, if he has to start, you could do a whole lot worse at that position. He's a very conscientious player. He plays with good technique. He's enormous. I have a feeling like it's going to be hard to beat him out to start the season.
Yeah, it's just he's got to get healthy, right? I mean,
yeah.
He didn't go last week against the Jets. It doesn't look like he's going to go this week against the Dolphins.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I saw him out there. I didn't know if he was going or not going. I saw him dressed. He was in uniform last week.
He didn't. Yeah, he did. So, I mean, I was up there too, and he came down. It's really been unfortunate for Coleman because he got this like shoulder pec thing on Tuesday, and then they traveled up there Thursday, and he was dressed but didn't have his pads on.
So they got Chris Paul. He played both sides. Like,
yeah, what'd you think of him playing tackle?
Yeah, and I asked Allegretti if he can play left tackle, and when I talked to him, he's like, I can play every position but left tackle. So, it's just one of those things. Like, you got to get your five up there, and you got to get them healthy, and you got to get them, ready to play.
Totally. As you go around the league, what has really stood out to you as far as, maybe what the Giants have, what the Cowboys have, what the Eagles have? I know how much time you spend kind of with those NFC East teams.
Well, they're all trying to figure out their offensive lines, to be honest with you right now. The Eagles are looking at right guard. It looks like it's not a problem position right now. Mekhi Becton was in there the other day. He's never played guard before. They got a great coach, but they're really trying to figure out that position. Dallas is doing the same thing. They drafted Cooper Beebe. He played a lot the other day. They're trying to play him at center. He was a guard at Kansas State. Tyler Guyton, is he the answer at left tackle? Like, they're trying to get that group figured out everywhere I go. Giants look like they're a mess. Honestly, it's on the offensive line right now. Evan Neal has not practiced, hasn't dressed. He's had 2 off-season surgeries on his ankle. And so they wanted to play the guy that they signed 2 guys in free agency. John Runyon is a lock at guard, but Jermaine Illuminar, they wanted to play him at guard. Now they're playing him at right tackle because they have to. They signed a guy, Greg Van Roten, off the street. And I went up there a week ago last Saturday. Literally a day later, he was starting center.
Wow.
It's not anything that you want to have to do because John Michael Schmitz has been hurt most of camp. So they're trying to get that together, but you can't go to watch any Giant practice. I've seen 2 of them and not just be wowed by Malik Neighbors. The guy, there's no question the guy is going to be a star in this business. The Giants haven't had anybody like that since Odell was in his prime. But he catches everything. His route running is crisp. They're finding a lot of different ways to get him the ball. I think defensively they have a chance of being pretty good. I think Brian Burns is a legit player. Dexter Lawrence is in great shape. Kayvon's now, going into his 3rd year. Like, they have a chance to be pretty good right now. Young secondary, but they have a chance to be pretty good up front.
Is there enough offensively at quarterback to get the ball to Neighbors as often as they should?
You know, Mitch, I think that's $1 million question. Nobody really knows. He didn't play this week. You know, they tried to make a trade to move up to get Drake May. They made efforts. They couldn't get it done. So they've got Daniel Jones there. I don't believe that Drew Lock is any kind of an answer. If they can protect Daniel Jones and run the ball, like that's a big if. If they could do those kind of things, he's got Jalen Hyatt. He's got Wan'Dale Robinson. He's got some young tight ends that they're really high on. Theo Johnson. Like he has a chance for some success if they can get that group up, you know, up front fixed up.
It was fascinating to watch kind of everything with the Giants and what they've got there, and being in New Jersey for a few days last week for the Jets practice and then the game. I was listening to the sports talk up there, and Giants fans are calling in the fan talking about
Ben DiNucci, baby.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
They were all in on Tommy DeVito. But what with the Eagles, Baldy, the way they collapsed last year, and now you know Sirianni's trying to take ownership of stuff, and Jalen Hurts is talking about their relationship. Is that all mended? Like, what happens after the first loss or the first interception or the first bad decision on a fourth down? You know what I mean? Like, how ready are they to kind of be at the top of the NFC again?
Well, I know the guy that wrote the article pretty good, and I talked to him about what he was investigating, and he wanted to write this article, months ago, but more and more stuff kept coming out. And talking to players. I mean, the guy has good sources. There was definitely issues. I mean, when the quarterback calls the defensive coordinator of the Giants to find out what we're doing and how easy it was to, he's calling Wink Martindale. I never heard that before. A quarterback calling an opposing defensive coordinator. I talked to defensive coordinators around the league, and they were like, look, they were horrible against the blitz. They had no answer for the blitz. The quarterback was reading the blitz. I mean, they were inviting the blitz, and they had no answer, and it was part of the collapse. Now, why Nick couldn't fix it? He's an offensive guy. Why he couldn't fix it, even if Brian Johnson's the offensive coordinator. Maybe he didn't want to step on his kid's toes or whatever, calling these plays, but, they didn't fix it. And the quarterback knew it, and he was a part of the problem. The talent around the quarterback is real. I mean, A.J. Brown is a legit star. Saquon, if they get the right guard fixed, I mean, it should be Kellen Moore they didn't even have a 3-step drop in their offense, last year. So, they've got the quick passes now. They're moving guys around. It should be better. And if it's better on offense, their relationship should be better. Defensively, I think there's some real question marks about what they have, and Vic Fangio is trying to put together what they're doing at linebacker, what they're doing. Do they have enough depth on the defensive line? I think there's legit questions about what they have right now defensively.
How much will Saquon help that squad?
I think it's going to be good, Brian. He's never going to see runways. He's not a guy that's going to stop and start and make guys miss and do the stuff that some of these other guys can do in this league. You give him a good runway, though, he's going to hit some explosive runs. The talent is still there. So I think he's going to have a good season. If he stays healthy, God willing, if he stays healthy, he's going to put up big numbers. Because I think Kellen will commit to the running game with them, and he's going to get a lot of touches. He's going to get 300-plus touches, whether he's running it or receiving it, and he's a good receiver. So he's going to get a lot of chances to put up 1,500 yards this year.
Wow. Baldy, the big news here in D.C. today, and maybe this should or shouldn't be big news, frankly. I don't know that this even made your radar for a national guy, but the Commanders this morning signed Martavis Bryant, and we all know what he was way back when with the Steelers. I mean, his catch radius, his acrobatic catches were really something special. What, if anything, do you think Bryant has left, and what does this signing mean to you on August 13th?
Well, I mean, I didn't know that. I would hit the Google search and see the last time he caught a pass in this league. I mean, it's been years.
He hasn't played since 2018.
It's been a while.
Okay. All right.
A lot of suspensions and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, no, he's got personal demons, no doubt. And it's brought him down. I guess you got to take a look. I mean, I'm sure Adam was okay, he knew him. He probably, studied him coming out of Clemson, watched him flourish in Pittsburgh. Does he still have the same speed that he once had? For me to believe 6 years later that he does, if he hasn't been competing. But you sign these guys to take a look at him. Like, you can't hurt. Like, maybe he's motivated. Like, look, the 49ers, we saw this with Aldon Smith after he put up record, numbers and sacks and all that stuff. And Dallas took a look at him, and look, it didn't work out after he was out of the league for a while. Maybe he's really, taking care of the demons. Maybe he's really fanatic about working out. Like, I don't know. But I don't think it hurts to take a look and see what he's got.
Yeah, I think it's funny because a lot of fans are reacting like, oh, well, this means bad news for the third receiver or the fourth receiver on the depth chart. And I think any of that is just a bridge way too far. Yeah, right. Like,
they've got a lot of guys that have played in this league. They're still, whether it's, Diami or whether it's Zacchaeus, he was just in Philly. I mean, you look at the guys down the depth chart. I mean, outside of basically your number one and number two, and McLaurin and Dotson, like, I don't know what Luke McCaffrey is yet, if he's anything. Like, he was basically a slot receiver at Rice, after, converting from quarterback to receiver. I don't know what he has, but you would think that you're taking a look at a guy right now because you think you need another guy. Even, Diami catches, the big go route the other day, but I don't know what he looks like day in, day out in practice. So, I mean, you wouldn't be signing this guy if you felt secure about what you have at, number 4, number 5 position on your receiving depth chart.
Right. Baldy, man, we really appreciate you making time for us, dude. Thank you very much.
Anytime, Brian. Yep, you got it, guys. Call me anytime.